Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we have a patron request, so thank you for this one. This is VoicePlay with The Phantom of the Opera. Firstly, apologies for wearing a funky shirt for The Phantom of the Opera, quite a menacing bit of music. Where I am, we're having a mini heat wave, probably still colder than wherever you are, but where I am is not designed for the heat. Buildings keep in the heat and it is absolutely sweltering right now. I have a fan at hand. Anyway, onto this one. I had never seen the stage play or the film, so I did watch the film. That was a few weeks ago at this point. This is an older one from VoicePlay, 2015, 9 years ago, nearly 10, and 6.8 million views, so it's a popular one, which is not really surprising considering The Phantom of the Opera apparently has grossed over $6 billion worldwide. The guest artist today is Rachel Potter. I have seen her a couple of times before in Classical Chaos and the Wicked Medley. Make sure to check those ones out if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's get straight into this one. Oh, this chord. Sorry, very quickly, I won't pause much because it's VoicePlay and they are fine with copyright. Thank you, VoicePlay. I've been listening to this song a few times just now, just to refamiliarize myself with it. And the organ in it is just so iconic. That you just expect it. It sounds so stupid. This is VoicePlay. I know I love VoicePlay. I've done so many videos on them, but for some reason I was still expecting an organ. Don't ask me why. Maybe the heat is frazzling my brain.
In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, that voice which calls to me and speaks my name. And do I dream again? For now I find the Phantom of the Opera is there inside my mind.
Sing once again with me, our strange duet.
I was just about to say, oh, off come the masks, but then in comes a mask. Tony, of course. I'm not too familiar with him because most of my VoicePlay experience has been more recent ones. If you're new to the channel, you can find my VoicePlay playlist linked in the description below. So this will be a good experience for me to really hear him, playing the Phantom.
Sing once again with me, our strange duet. My power over you
Great voice.
grows stronger yet. Though you turn from me to glance behind.
Classic suspension.
The Phantom of the Opera is there inside you. The Phantom of the Opera is there. The Phantom of the Opera. In all your fantasies, you always knew that man and mystery
We're both in you,
and in this labyrinth where night is blind, the Phantom of the Opera is there. My angel of music.
Wow, yeah. The production quality on that was insane all round. I really, really liked the video, the decisions, everything about it, really. And watching this one now, this will definitely be one of the oldest VoicePlay things I've ever seen. It's so cool because this came before a lot of what I've seen, and you can just see all these elements that I've become so familiar with through their more recent productions laid out for us all those years ago. All those years ago, why am I speaking about it as though it's some prehistoric event? You know, still quite recent in the grand scheme of things, I suppose. But I'm sure you know what I mean. VoicePlay, the masters of rhythm, rhythms were so important in this one. I'll try and touch on that in a bit. The slightly modern studio type effects that they like to do. Jeff here, absolute powerhouse. His role was super important as always. I mean, to be honest, there's no real MVP in this one for me. They were all really good, and great to see Tony there with that solo solo role. I do apologize if I'm misspeaking. Having no hair means that the sweat just goes straight onto my face, which I don't want you to see because that's grim. All right, well, I'll go listen to that again. That was a really cool one. Such a good arrangement. Immediately there, intense dissonance, almost to the point of making us feel uncomfortable. I mean, that probably is the point of that right there, to make us feel a little bit uneasy, a bit spooked out by this phantom. And the upper notes are kind of sliding around, so yeah, just super clashy. As I said, I just was expecting an organ. Of course, that's stupid, so Hairless. This is a cappella, and I really like how they've done this. Earl moving up there, they've essentially changed the structure of arguably the most iconic part of this Phantom of the Opera song, I think. So this is D minor, and it's that D at the top with this chromatic fall. That is so iconic, and of course we do have some chords underneath also moving chromatically. So by removing that D from the top and instead having Earl sing these two notes, those chromatic organ chords that we get have essentially been gutted from the inside out. The inner parts have now been moved to the top. It's probably more eloquent to say simply that the top part has been removed. So immediately it sounds a little bit not familiar, other than the fact it's voices instead of organ, of course. And that da-da is very interesting because we have this chromatic falling. The expected thing would be, especially as we've just had this chromatic fall. Chromaticism, as you probably knew I was going to say, is so rife in this and one of the most iconic parts of the song. So having a not chromatic instead of, it's slightly unexpected. VoicePlay are well aware of this and they just choose to exaggerate it greatly. After very smooth, great introduction to Rachel Potter. When I've seen her before, I believe I said I can imagine her voice being very well suited to musical theatre. Well, if this isn't musical theatre, I don't know what is. She has that sort of piercing tone, not too dissimilar from Earl Elkins Jr., to be honest. Obviously, there are the textural differences, female versus male, but I think that she is a great choice to sing this role, just as I think Tony is a great choice to sing his role in this one.
In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came.
And here's that modern Europop type style. You could almost imagine that being played in a club in 2005 or something. Lane and Jeff, great synergy there. The backing parts come in, they're showing us what this arrangement is about. It's quite chordal, very smooth now, to accompany Rachel Potter, whose melody is very smooth.
And speaks my name.
But then we get another quick da-da, my name. What's going to happen next?
Do I dream again?
Homophony and do I, but then dream comes off. So they're teasing us smooth, elongated, and then suddenly coming off staccato, disjointed. All of this ties into the overall rhythmic sphere within which this arrangement is done. Throughout the arrangement, the crazy rhythms are just everywhere. We don't know what to expect, especially when it comes to the bass working with Lane on the beat.
For now I find
Another great example there. Melody, smooth, backing parts, the opposite.
Phantom of the opera is there inside my mind.
Earl and Ellie working together in the upper ranges so nicely to, again, just emphasize this chromaticism, these chromatic falls we get everywhere. Leading into Tony's entry.
Sing once again with me, our strange duet.
I just think he sings it really well. The phrasing, I didn't want to pause as we were listening, but I was thinking, oh, the mix of straight tone versus vibrato, a really convicted sound, very powerful, even some air coming out at the end of that phrase, but it's just still got so much power. Typically, airy voices are associated with maybe a bit more emotional or not so powerful.
Strange duet.
Can you hear that coming through there? Next phrase, if I remember, was more powerful.
My power over you.
Funny how the lyrics there are my power over you. I forgot about that.
Grow stronger, yeah.
And they're straight tone on the top of stronger and then immediately into vibrato on yet instead of waiting a bit and then having the vibrato come through. Basically just exaggerates them even more, the contrast, straight versus wobbly. The end of that phrase, we now have some funkiness again in Jeff and the beat. Those few seconds there, pure, angelic, choral, like a choir. And what do? In that moment, they create these really rich harmonies. There we have a suspension coming through. But it doesn't last long.
The phantom of the opera is there inside.
Sorry, Jeff's bass is just ridiculous. It's almost like a heavy, filthy dubstep or drum and bass drop.
The phantom of the opera is there inside. The phantom of the opera is there.
I really like that line.
Is there the phantom of the opera?
And how tight Ellie and Earl Elkins Jr. are there in their part.
The phantom of the opera. The phantom of the opera.
Little hemiola coming through as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 beats in the space of 1, 2, usually. Very subtle, and amidst everything else we're hearing rhythmically with Lane on an absolute mad one and Jeff and all the parts coming in and out, just including a hemiola just gives it another layer of rhythmic coolness.
In all your fantasies, you always knew.
Key change. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. What better way to bring in the key change through a complete change of, well, aside from change of key, a change of everything, really. Again, we've moved to this choral, angelic, choir, homophonic singing. And just like before when we had it for just a few seconds, now we get it for twice the length, pretty much. They do the same thing. We have a suspension there, but at the end, they don't resolve the suspension.
You always knew.
We'd expect to go, but no, it just stays clashing. And instead of resolving to the root of the chord, it just stays, so we get this. Look at that. Clash, city. I like that, how the moments of seeming purity, angelic choirness, they're the moments where the real kind of disgusting or filthy or juicy harmony, as I would call it, come in. And then the rest of this, and then the rest of the arrangement where the rhythms and the ranges and the relationship between all the parts really play a massive part. That's where the harmony doesn't need to be complex. If it was too complex and juicy like this, I think it would probably be a bit overwhelming for us.
The
on the Phantom of the Opera, such an iconic phrase, well-known phrase. Tony and Rachel are both singing at the same time, but they're singing in unison, so the same notes, just an octave apart. We can hear harmony as well being sung, and you'd think, oh, let's make the harmony really nice on this one. And it is nice, it sounds nice. Why? Well, one of the inner parts, I think, Ellie, is actually static. He's just singing the same note until the end of the phrase. Do. Listen out for that note.
The Phantom of the Opera is there.
Phantom of the Opera is there. And Earl was actually above him as well, also in harmony, also not moving. Really interesting how you can just have a static line or two underneath a moving line and it creates such a full sound. Then the ending gets a bit chaotic. Really, it's a showcase for Rachel and her vocal range and how easily she seems to be able to sing this. In the original song, it's definitely got this wow factor. You watch it and you think, oh my goodness. Going higher and higher. How high can she go? The answer, pretty high. That's an E up here, which is one note below the top note of the Queen of the Night aria. So yeah, you do watch it and you go, whoa. And Rachel Potter does the same thing. They are singing in the same key. Yeah, insane range. While she does sing super high and gradually moves up, the arrangement underneath Rachel providing all of this crazy support is just so interesting to listen to. The Phantom, Angel of Music. Really interesting arrangement, very well done. As for the video as a whole, as I said before, such high production value. I'd love to know how many subscribers they had at the time of this release nearly 10 years ago, and for how many people this was their discovery of VoicePlay or their first VoicePlay experience. Let me know if you were one of them, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.